Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Rob here. Today I want to talk to you about what's inside this Oakley eyeglass bag, and that is the Lomomatic 110 by Lomography. This 110 camera with flash in the anodized aluminum. I have had so much fun with this camera, and just on my first pack of film, I want to share with you information about it. Now, we talked about this the other day when I did my, walk around, where I was talking about the aperture, the shutter speed, and the flash. This camera seems simple to use, and it is, but it actually is extremely powerful in the 110 format. This is an extremely capable camera. I can't wait to share that with you now. We'll talk about all the ways that it's capable in another day, but for right now, I want to share with you the fact that I've got some prints that I did using my DNP DS40 right here. Now, I've got the DS40 and DS80. Of course, I'm a photographer, so I've got a lot of equipment. If you're going to develop 110 film yourself, I think it's important to know that there's going to be a big cost when it comes to actual print development. And because of that, I kind of want to share with you scanning and maybe developing on your own in another video, but I want to share with you the scans that I did and my own development. So of course, I did my development, and 110 is so cute. It's itty bitty and tiny. It's right in there, and Tiger 200 was what I shot, of course, and I've got the leftover canister. I may attempt to reload this sometime, but for basically $10 for 24 shots, that's really not too bad. If you develop yourself, then you can save about $12 on the development cost, 12 to 15 depending on where you are. And if you do your own scans, then you can save the $10 to $15 on scans. So 110 film is kind of expensive when you think about the cost of the film, any shipping you may have to pay to get the film, the cost of the development and the scans, and any shipping you may have to pay for that. In Virginia Beach or in the Hampton Roads area, there's a film development place where you can actually drop off Monday through Friday, 1 to 6. It's the Little Light Lab in Norfolk, and that place is awesome. Highly recommend. Okay, we've been talking about this long enough. I want to show you these pictures, and I'll get them to you in a second. I've gone ahead and printed these guys off, and it's a lot of fun, but I want to kind of show you this. So for one moment, come on over here. So I'm over here in the print module in Lightroom, and there's a couple of things I want to share with you just from my develop module, so you can kind of see the things that I've done. This roll of film that I took was actually the behind the scenes for gift purchasing for my sweetheart for her birthday. So my son Ira and I went out behind the scenes, and we took the Lomomatic 110, this beautiful thing right here, in order to photograph our adventures while buying her gifts, and we got her some nice gifts. So I'll tell that story in just a minute, but I want you to see that I have actually done a little bit of editing over here in the corner. You can kind of see where that is, and if we look at the original, you can see there's definitely a shift. So when you scan your images and you bring everything in, of course using whatever scanning software, I use Epson PhotoScan, there are a lot of options like unsharp mask that you can use to sharpen and all those types of things, color correction and stuff like that. The only thing that I use is the color correction to bring it back to a regular color space. I don't use anything else, and I use a relatively high quality scan, but not too high a quality, because I found that the difference in a 2400 DPI and 3200 DPI and 6400 DPI was not very much. So I found, for me, I like to do the 48-bit color, which is actually 3x3x3. Yeah, instead of this, you've got 24-bit color, and which is, I think, 8 bits per channel or 3 bits per channel. Anyways, I do the 48-bit color. That was a big thing to help. And also the large scans, like I did the 9600 DPI scans for almost 200 megabyte file, and it really wasn't very sharp in comparison. So I found, after doing a bunch of tests, and maybe I'll do a video to tell you about that, but I found after doing a bunch of tests, I like the 48-bit color, as well as the, I think, 3200 DPI scan as a TIFF. Anyways, when you do that, you get images that look like this. Now, this was the scan as we come forward, right? This was the original. And there's just so much detail in there. And yes, right now we are looking at this at 100% on the screen, right? So this is 100%, but that picture will never be that big. Remember, look how much bigger it is. So of course it's grainy, just like we like, and it appears unsharp here, but by the time you print it on a 4x6, I think you're pretty good. Now, as we're looking at this, I think I want to talk about one other thing. I want to share with you what I did for my sharpening. And if you look over here in my luminance panel, I used a little bit of noise reduction, but I sharpened everything that I could. Up here, as well as in my luminance, I brought my detail and my contrast, my color, and my smoothness all the way up, or really high. And then I brought my sharpening, my radius, and my detail higher than I usually do for any of my other digital cameras. And I brought my masking up so that, of course, I would only sharpen the areas that I wanted to sharpen. I also added a little bit of texture and clarity in order to give it some bump. And then I went ahead and added contrast and brought the black level down on each photo individually. Okay, final thing I want to tell you, some of these images have, so you notice how this image right here doesn't have any lines through it? But wait, it does. So I did have some issues developing where I scratched the emulsion. That's something that I'll have to learn to do a little bit better when I'm taking apart the film. But actually, I don't think it has anything to do with the film. I think it has to do with the tank that I was using, the Clipper 2 spool, the Yankee Clipper. And that thing sucks. It works, but it sucks. I'm gonna have a whole video coming on that. If you guys wanna see it, let me know. The reason I didn't do, remove some of these lines on some images is because if it goes through a face, I wasn't spending a lot of time to reconstruct faces and stuff. So if the AI couldn't do it on its own, I just forgot about it. Anyway, I think that these are great images. And it's time to share them with you a little bit differently. So let's turn around and have a look-see in some better light. Okay, we are back. What do you say? Here we go. So all these images you're about to see up a little closer are taken with the Lomomatic 110. I absolutely had a blast with this camera, and I'm taking it on a wedding tomorrow so I can photograph my behind the scenes. I'm the videographer in a pretty big wedding. And I just think it'll be so awesome to have this easy to hang around my neck or put in my pocket and then just have a good time. What a great little camera. Okay, so Lomomatic. So let's talk about this. So went and got some behind the scenes shots with my sweetheart on her birthday. So my son and I go out to get some shots, and this is the absolute first roll. So very important. And notice that we've got these frames. I didn't actually just print just the center frame. It's actually like 6x7 or something. It's a different ratio. But I ended up printing this on the 4x6, which allows me to get a little bit of the exterior frame inside of it. And I think that's really cool. You can see a little more than what's actually in the mask. And look how sharp this actually is. You know, when we were looking earlier, you might have thought that it's not very sharp. But man, that's a nice looking image. Okay, we got some pistol guns going on over there. We have been deciding for weeks on what we should do for presents and gifts for Mom and my sweetheart. And so we're out and about looking. So we still haven't quite figured it out at this point. So we head to Best Buy to pick up some batteries and see if she wants an Apple Watch. But she wouldn't say yes or no if she wanted an Apple Watch. So we had to kind of ask questions, like he was asking her, like, have you ever thought of having an Apple Watch? Stuff like that. Well, obviously, we ended up not getting an Apple Watch, but we needed batteries anyway, so that's what we did. So we got a nice little picture right here. Just look how awesome that is, okay? The first thing that we ended up doing was actually going over to an AutoZone and getting some oil because Mom likes cars. But we ended up not getting her oil because I remembered that she really wanted a car windshield shade. And so we ended up looking through car windshield shades and we picked out one and got one for her. Now, this is the same tree on the way in and on the way out. I took a picture of my son on the way in and he took a picture of me on the way out. So from there, we had a mess up because he thought that he didn't take the picture properly, but he did, because the shutter is a little mushy, right? And so I went over to try to help him and then got a nose shot. It happens. After we bounced around a little bit and realized that she didn't want that Apple Watch, which is okay, right? No problem there. I kind of decided the last resort was going to be a purse. So we needed to go to the outlets. But before we went to the outlets, we went to a Dillard's around the corner from us to see if they actually had what we were looking for, or a nice purse, a Coach purse or something like that. That's what she likes. And I haven't bought her a Coach purse in years, because I used to get her Coach purses annually as a special gift, just so she'd have a nice new purse for the new year and she could build a collection. But one year she told me to stop getting her Coach purses, and that was like 7 years ago. So I stopped, and she hasn't had a new purse. And every time I talk about getting her a purse, she always tells me no, like she doesn't want one. And well, Ira and I had a conversation and we just decided we were going to do it. So we're getting some pictures out here by this little fountain. This is Prime Outlets in Norfolk, and it's a pretty nice little spot. And we're talking, you see, because I like to get nice things for my sweetheart, but she usually doesn't like things that I pick out. She's very hard to shop for. I can't get her jewelry. She doesn't want jewelry. She doesn't want this. It's ridiculous. I've never met a woman that doesn't want the things most women want. Anyway, so I bring Ira because he knows Mom's taste very well. And so I knew that if I was going to pick out the purse, I could get a couple of different things to go along with it, and we could find everything we wanted here at Prime Outlets. And I figured Ira could help pick out the pattern and I could choose the category. And so that's what we did. We went to Coach. And so here's an example of one of those shots. Look how much more is actually in the frame. You know, I did like a 3/4 up for me. This is almost full size, but there's quite a bit more that's behind the mask. And normally when you would get this printed, you wouldn't see the actual film leader on the sides and all that stuff. You would just get the negative, the print right there. I think it's so cool to actually have the print as it is, so you can see so much more. But he's pointing towards the Coach. Now the cool part is, as we're photographing and taking these little pictures, people are stopping us and asking us what kind of camera that is. It was like, if you want to make friends, like, this camera can make friends because people are interested in it. I think I might buy another one so that I can have two of them, run two types of film. And Ira loved shooting this camera, so I might get the Golden Gate version. If you get one, make sure you get the flash included. So after about an hour of running around, we actually found the Coach purse that we wanted. And recognizing that these aren't 100% perfect shots, your cell phone would look quite a bit better. Look at the nostalgia. This looks like something from 1970, and it is, because that's the technology, right? That's the concept of the film. But what was so cool is, while we were in there, the minute I took out the camera to get a picture of Ira and I, like as a selfie, one of the associates, who was roughly my age, saw the camera and she asked, "Is that film?" And she was so excited. She's like, "Can I take the picture?" She was so excited to use the camera to take the picture. And she knew how to do everything. She knew how to focus it, you know, the zone focus. She understood to turn the flash on. She looked at it. So you could tell that she had used these cameras growing up. And what was cool is, people that were a little bit younger, you know, in their 20s, they were all standing around like, "Oh my God, how'd you know that?" She got to have a little bit of fun. Very cool. And we spent a lot of money in Coach because we got 3 or 4 things, not just this purse. But when I do a gift, I do multiples. So we do a whole set, you know, so we get the purse, you get the wallet, you get the wristlet, you get the sling, you get the shirt and everything else to go along with it, so she could have something nice. She deserves it. Mom deserves it so much. A cool picture of the Coach sign. And also, no, this is inside with flash. So everything that you see is actually with flash. I always use flash inside and outside, especially with film like this. Flash, especially indoors. I could have a whole video talking about that. And then we go outside. Look at that. There's a big Adirondack chair, the Norfolk Premium Outlets. And I climbed up there. I just think that is so cool. You know, again, look how much is actually left to the mask or behind the mask. And when this thing is sharp, you know, when you focus it right, man, it's sharp as a tack. I mean, it's as sharp as you would want any 110 film to be. I mean, it's good, real good. Now, there's a problem I had, I said earlier, and I think I'll make a big video about it. Earlier, in my first video, I said that 0.8 meters is 1 foot. And it's because I'm an idiot. I was thinking 0.8 of a foot. All my other measurements I talked about were correct. And I lamented the fact that there's not a good selfie length at right around 2.5, 3 feet. Well, 0.8 meters is the perfect selfie length. So I'm holding the camera a little bit closer than I should because I'm thinking that it's not able to take a selfie at arm's distance, and I was wrong. Even doing that, it still came out pretty nice. But realistically, you got to hold the thing at arm's length, which is at 0.8 meters. In the car, same kind of deal, but you know, f5.6 it gives you a lot of depth of field to work with, so we still get these pretty sharp images even when taken outside of the focal range. Now here's another shot. What happened was Mom wasn't expecting a big birthday, even though we always do what she wants for her birthday. We do that for everybody's birthday, so go out to eat, stay home and cook, whatever, and then give a little gift or something like that. That's not exactly what she was expecting, or that's exactly what she was expecting. That's not what she got. So in the bag, we gave her the big gift of the $20 car umbrella windshield shade, and she was all kinds of excited about that. Now this is indoors in my house, which is pretty dark. All we have is a light over top of the little island right here, and that flash is really rocking hard. Look at that. Now, when you use flash indoors, the flash is definitely going to give you a little bit slower of a shutter speed, but still faster than without flash. So I think we're at 1/60th of a second. Well, lomography doesn't say, but that's what I'm guessing. Most flashes right around 1/60th of a second. In any event, look how sharp and nice that came out. That's excellent. I just love it. We're getting ready to go out to dinner, and before we go, I wanted to get pictures under the big tree in our yard. It's a nice little tree. And I want to get pictures with all of us, and just a good opportunity to take those photos. Now, she wanted to go to a nice steakhouse. She wanted steak, so we went to Texas Roadhouse, and the experience was okay. You know, I'm not big on Texas Roadhouse, but that's where she wanted to go, so that's where we went. And I think we were looking for a good steak, and we just didn't find it there. We could have gone somewhere else, Ruth's Chris or something, but I don't think she wanted to spend Ruth's Chris money. It would have been nice to have had a better steak. It was okay. But while we were there, the lady that was serving us, the waitress, was more than happy to take photos for us. And we did 2 pictures. Look how nice and sharp this is. Now, these spots that you'll see, these actually happen to be issues with my development. We'll talk about that later. These lines happen to be scratches in the emulsion. We'll talk about that later in another video, I mean. But just look how nice and sharp that is. I mean, it's just a great image. And it looks good indoors. Now, I got the color balance correct here, but I needed a little bit more yellow here. It's not as good. That's the nice part about me having the scans and developing them. I can redo it however I want. So could you, but in any event, just look how sharp that is. Those 2 images, wow, they're just so sharp. They look great. And they were taken at the 1.5 meter mark, which is 5 feet. So I asked the lady to stand. I turned the lights on, or the flash on, and I just told her to push the button and stand still until it flashed. And she did. She did a great job. I was really proud, and I gave her a nice tip for it. Now, again, I'm thinking that the close focus isn't where it should be, and we've got the camera about a foot from the face, and, well, it is what it is. But notice how bright the flash is. Pretty nice. Overexposed, obviously, but just nice to see how bright it is. Coming out, we're rounding it out. We're getting back home. We've already given her her gifts. Everybody came and sang happy birthday to her at the table. She got her gifts at the table. She was so excited. And then we come home and Ira takes a picture of us by that tree. Now I get to have a picture by the tree. I know it's hard to tell here, but this is camera shake. But what's hard to tell is it is getting darker. It's becoming overcast. And so we've got some camera shake. So the camera, even though we're using flash, it's also using a much longer shutter speed. And because of that, I could kind of hear when the picture was taken, I can hear the 2 little clicks. I asked Ira to take another one. And when he did, I asked him to hold real still, and he held nice and still. Look at that. So that's just the difference of shutter shake. I mean, you got to admit, that's crazy, right? Anyways, all said and done right there, looking good. And then I took a picture of Mom and Ira for our last photo. There you go. And maybe I have a little bit of shutter shake. Who knows, right? Crazy. So that's it. We've been talking about the Lomomatic 110 by Lomography. This camera is great. I had a great time with it. Can't wait to share with you the next story that I could come in, which is about, well, that wedding, the behind the scenes. I'm going to use this. It'll be a lot of fun. One roll of film, Tiger 200. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys want to hear. I mean, we got a lot to talk about with this camera. There's a lot of things that I think are awesome about it. I've had a wonderful time with it. I don't know, man. Just let me know what your questions are and we'll get on with it next time. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm Rob and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Bye for now.